you kidding me? Welcome, everyone, to the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Transformation Show. I am your hostess, Donna Whittington, and today I'm very, very excited because I have an incredible guest with me tonight. Her name is Laura Hosford, and I'm just excited to bring her on to chat with us today. We are going to be talking about ourselves, the power of self. In fact, her topic is the way of divine love and the way of divine love of self. Awaken your I am presence and embrace your feminine power. Now, let me just put a little disclaimer in there for men. If you think that you don't have any feminine energy, we're going to talk about all of that. So just sit tight and enjoy the ride. And of course, bring your questions. And how do you do that? Very simple. All I'm going to ask you to do is to, in the chat below the video, if you would just type in your message, then I will see it. I will post it on the screen. So put your messages directly in the chat. Put your questions in the chat, and then we'll see those. And we're going to have just a wonderful dialogue. So before I get started, let me just tell you, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Laura, and then I'll bring Laura on. So Laura Hosford is an inspiring visionary for world peace, oracle and channel for the divine feminine Christ, master Akashic teacher, modern day mystic, multi-sensory intuitive healer, and language of light channel. Now, of course, that I said a mouthful there. So what I'm going to do, of course, is let me bring on Laura Hosford, and I'll allow her to talk a little bit more about herself. And then, of course, you can ask all your questions. So, Laura, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Doing great, Donna. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here tonight on your show. Just going to have lots of fun and look forward to questions, look forward to connecting with your audience tonight and just sharing the love.
Awesome. I'm to have you on the show tonight because you are just this amazing healer and master. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I mean, we're talking about self, and you know, the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Transformation Show is all about relationships. You know, it's quite specific to relationships and the relationships that we have with ourselves, of course, right? That's the first relationship that we have in life, is the one, and that, of course, is a very continuous relationship. And folks, if you don't get that, it's relationship you have with yourself. So we're going to talk about, of course, relationships with others. So as we focus on that tonight, I want you to kind of gear your questions to Laura about that, if you would, please. So Laura, let's go ahead and jump right in, because you know there's a lot of questions, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who have questions for you. Laura, will you please share your story with us and how you came to this point in your life of living as an intuitive leader?
Sure, I'd be happy to share a little bit about that. You know, for me, I think the journey starts with those deep questions. And I can remember actually when I was about 12 or 13 years old, walking to church one day. Here in the South, you know, very traditional, people go to church, and raised in Christian tradition. And one day I was talking with God, and I just said, you know, I had this question about, I go to church and I love church, I always enjoyed it, and everyone seemed so happy and upbeat. But then when I would go home, I didn't understand why there wasn't any peace in my home. And actually, I didn't understand why there wasn't any peace inside of me, and I was filled with a lot of conflict and a lot of anger. And so I really think that my quest as a seeker of truth really began at that early age. And I remember just having that conversation so vividly that in speaking with, God, the divine universe, that I really wanted to help people to discover peace and to live in peace. And so that became my lifelong quest. And so I had the typical, American upbringing, and went to college, got married, have a beautiful daughter. I was married for 30 years. And then in March of 2008, my spiritual journey took a different turn and actually lost a major job of 10 years. I was in healthcare leadership for over 30 years. And so it was quite a shock. And so I spent the next 18 months trying to figure out what's going on, and, had a lot of conversations with myself and realized I was in a dark night of the soul, and that my higher self and soul were leading me to a new path. And so I started to accept that. And for the next 7 years, my journey really became very deep. And I started to get in touch with more of my metaphysical side. And I started to study with teachers, and I started to study healing modalities, studied a lot of, read a lot of books, the typical journey of ups and downs. I did initiate leaving my 30-year marriage, which was quite shocking to people here in the South at my age. I left my dream home, actually, that I had worked very hard for. And so I think it was a little upsetting to some people. However, I want to share with you and everyone here in your community that I knew deep down inside that this was my path at a very deep level, and that I was always going to be financially supported. I would always be divinely guided and supported. And that was so true. And even though when I had many difficult days of depression or not knowing how I was going to get through the next day, in all honesty, I was always provided for, even by people, particularly employers, who did not know anything about my spiritual path. They were totally unconscious to it. However, the divine is the one who was totally leading my journey. And so, that journey was so pivotal to me awakening to who I really am. And to be able to come to this point today and to be able to share with you my story, and to be able to share my intuitive gifts, because, that's what really brings my heart joy, is to be able to share the truth. And when I say share the truth, I'm talking about the universal truth, and I'm talking about the truth of the self, the truth of the soul, and our divine connection that for the most part we have lost in society today. However, we are in this wonderful opportunity being able to return to that connection, that deep connection with Divine Mother and Divine Father today. And so, for this, I am extremely grateful that I am here, because there's many, many souls who are trying to get here on the planet and have this ability or this opportunity to be in the human body and be able to have this incredible experience we're going through on the planet right now. And so, it's been an incredible journey every day. I mean, my life just keeps getting better and better. And wow, it's just, I can't wait to see more of the future. And, the incredible things that are going to happen on this planet, and the things that are already happening for us right now, and especially with the eclipse energies that are here, that have already started. It's such a wonderful opportunity right now that we have to step into a higher timeline, to be able to really embrace more of that divine connection, and be able to uplift us into a whole new way of living. And I'm so excited to be here as a light leader, that I call it. And I was given the vision of light leaders It was I remembered it so well because in January 2014 is when I first started studying Akashic records. And the universe had kept sending me messages about Akashic records in numerous different ways. So I signed up with my first class with Linda Howe, who's a great teacher. I studied with Linda, and the very first month when I connected with my Akashic records, they gave me this vision to create the Light Leaders Academy. And I knew that it came from, my heart and from my higher self. And, it just fits me. It just suits me to a T because I'm just really here to help others to really embrace their light, their unique divine light, and to be able to really align with it and to be able to really walk in what I call is a light leader, and to walk as their ascended self. And I just get really passionate about that because I know how wonderful, your life can be, and that I believe with all my heart, because I took the journey myself, that you can change your life and that you do not have to live in a life of struggle or pain, or living the life of a victim or in those codependent cycles any longer, and that you can free yourself of that, and that you can actually, heal and transform and bring that inner balance and wholeness back into your life. And that's all very, very possible. And, my journey was a little bit about cleaning up some karma from the past. I had come back and, not realizing that the karma that we're cleaning up, and I think this is important for your listeners to know, is not just about your personal karma. And even your personal karma goes back all the way in your timeline to when your soul, your individuated soul, was first created. So we're talking about, a long, long time, particularly in my case, as I'm an ancient soul. But also to come in and to clean up, to help the family, your family of origin, to help to shine the light and to really, help your family and everyone connected to your family by really balancing and releasing those patterns in the DNA. So this is very, very deep transformational work that we're doing, and I just want to, really honor the journey for each and every individual, because I walked that journey myself, and part of it was so that I could come through the journey and I could be a way shower, or I feel that I want to be a mentor and a guide for so many people, especially empaths and intuitives and healers. Those are my peeps, so to speak. And, I want you to hear this, that you can heal and you can transform. You can find a life of peace, and you don't need to be the victim or the martyr anymore. And that life is over. And I am here to guide you and to help you to step into, being an ascended being and to live a life of joy and happiness and bliss that you deserve. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Laura, you said a lot there, because you're right. We're talking about self.
Yes.
And with self, it is so important how we are with our own personal self. I feel like I can't stress that enough. And so I'm also glad that you said, I need your listeners to hear this, because self is so important. It's this, I always say, everything is about me. So anything that I'm going through, although it might feel like it's, I'm, if it's with my partner, or if it's with, my kids or whatever, but it's still about me, because I don't have control of how anybody reacts. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, totally. And so I was fortunate. One of the teachers that I actually studied with, he's a very advanced clairvoyant, taught me a lot about relationship with myself. And really the journey back to wholeness is about first bringing your own inner self into balance, into harmony, into wholeness, because that's the filter that you see your world. Those are the glasses that you're looking through to see through to everything in the world, all of your relationships, the world, and everything. And so once you get to really understand that, you hold the key. You actually hold the key to your own, you're holding the key to unlock the doors to your heart, first of all, and doors to really claiming, a new life. And so when you really you begin to understand that all of these things that are happening to you are for your highest good, they're not here to punish you. They're not here to make you be in pain. They're not here to make you depressed or be sad or any of that. They are here reflecting back. The universe is always reflecting back to us the areas within us in our subconscious, the areas that we're not even aware of where we can really begin to claim some ownership and some self-responsibility for. And it is about self-responsibility. However, I'll throw a caveat to that, because there's always compassion in the process. And it's once it rises up into our awareness that then we are to take the ownership and responsibility for it. And so that's part of the journey of the inner growth, is about sort of excavating, if you will, deep into the subconscious, which is why I love the Akashic records so much, because they're a wonderful, wonderful tool, because they are the treasure chest of all of your past incarnations back to your soul's creation. So they contain every bit of information of your truth. And that truth is unique to you because it's your soul's experiences, not anyone else.
Yes.
And so this is one of the reasons why I love the Akashic records, because the integrity is so high with it being your truth. However, so we can use that as a wonderful tool to help us in the process. But once we understand that we are, in fact, co-creating our reality, whether we're conscious of it or not, and that's the way we designed it. And so,
that's a hard pill for people to swallow.
It is. It is. But
it really is, because it's like, I didn't create this. And it's like,
yeah. But once you start to understand, and you can start to calm your ego or your lower self kind of down, and you start to understand that, if I really look at this situation and I look at my part in it, it's not about fixing or controlling anybody else. I'm only responsible for, my part.
Yeah.
And each time something comes up, if you just take a moment to really reflect in meditation or journaling or whatever vehicle that you use to reflect on, okay, let me just look through the eyes of my soul, not through my human eyes, but through my higher self and soul light. Show me where there might be an area here that perhaps I'm not looking at the situation with compassion, or, I'm not looking at it from the soul's perspective. So this is just opportunities for us to grow. I mean, the ascension process is a natural process. And there's not any judgment around the process. I think judgment is probably one of the biggest or hardest things for people to honestly to work with. It's not easy to release judgment.
And judgment of self.
Yes. Judgment of self is like, I know for myself, I really struggle with this. And my teacher would say, you're judging the judgment. Like, oh my gosh, you're right. Let me stop doing that. But what you don't realize is that it's actually a gift, because when you get in touch with the critical mind and you get in touch with the judgments or maybe the unkind thoughts that are coming up, well, first of all, that doesn't necessarily mean that all of those were personal to you. Those are also in the collective consciousness that when we're birthed into this planet, we are emerged into. And so when those thoughts start coming up into your awareness, that's actually a blessing, because that means that you become aware of it on the conscious level, and now you can do something about it. Now you have a choice of releasing that thought with compassion. And so you start to slowly release judgment and invite in compassion and what I call neutrality energies. Once you start to build that within your energetic field, and that is for yourself first. So the journey always, as you said, Donna, is it starts with ourselves first. And as we cultivate that, and as we work on ourselves, then what happens is we build this beautiful space of love and compassion around us, our energy field, our aura. And we become the blessing. In fact, this is the greatest gift that you can give to the planet. If you just work on yourself and just take everybody out of the equation, basically, that is the greatest gift that you can give this planet at this time. And by doing that, by changing your energetic field, your energy bodies, to walking in peace and compassion and love and joy, you will actually be sharing those energies, your higher vibration, with the rest of the planet, helping to uplift the consciousness. And you don't have to be a healer to do that. You can be in any profession on this planet and be returning to your whole divine self. So it's not exclusive to just healers and empaths. I believe in my heart that everybody on this planet has the ability to completely transform themselves and to come back into wholeness. I believe that 100%.
Well, I want to ask you about the divine feminine, because that's part of our topic tonight.
Yes.
And I really want to know, because there are so many things, there's so much going on right now. I know people are feeling this energy shift that's going on with the people that we're meeting, and the people that we know, that we've known for years. There's this huge energy shift that's happening right now.
Yes.
And I always say that, but it's like it's always been happening.
Yeah.
It just all of a sudden didn't start. So the energy is moving around, and I think people are kind of finding some things difficult, and maybe they're not as difficult as we think they are, but we're making them. I don't know. But here's the question I want to ask. What is the role of the divine feminine now during the current shifting of energy on this planet?
Okay, good question. Well, the role of the divine feminine is that basically she is returning to the planet right now in full force. So her energies really have been ramped up and turned on since January. And what this means is that she is the divine mother. She is the divine mother. She is the womb of all of creation, the sometimes called the void, the place of nothingness, of no thing, out of which all of creation, the worlds of form and formless, the universes, the multiverses, come out of her, out of the divine mother. So she is coming in now to help us to move into this new golden age of Aquarius. And she is here to return us to our civilization, to a higher state, to living in a higher ascended state that some people call the fifth dimension. And so she is actually already ascended into the fifth dimension herself, Mother Earth. And so what this means is that she is bringing in these higher frequencies right now of light that are coming onto the planet to rebalance us, to reharmonize us, to actually slow us down, and to actually bring us a whole new way of living, actually a very much simpler way of living. Our whole planet is destined to change, and but in a very, very good way, Donna. It means that for people, we will be able to return to a simpler lifestyle of where people will not feel so pressured or stressed or burnt out. People will be able to reconnect with nature again, reconnect with really all of the Divine Mother, which includes nature, the animal kingdom, the elemental kingdom. I mean, reconnect to our unity and connect to each other as human beings again, in a very deep spiritual way. So this is truly a blessing that she's bringing back to us, this balance where we've been living for thousands of years out of balance.
Yes.
You know, primarily from just the one aspect of the logical left brain, the male energy, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we weren't really living as we were intended to from the Garden of Eden when it really started. The Garden of Eden really was meant to have both the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and for us to live in wholeness. So she's bringing many, many blessings to us, where healing on all levels, including us, the animals, the earth, and even beyond the earth, Donna, because we are connected in one. We're also connected in oneness to the cosmos, in the multiverse. So everything that happens here on planet Earth actually affects the cosmos in our galaxy. And that's pretty big, I know, a pretty big statement, but it's true. It's absolutely the truth. So unfortunately, we've had 6 civilizations on this planet that went extinct. This time we have been on the path to destruction again. However, Mother Earth has decided she would ascend to the 5th dimension and that there would not be a destruction on this planet. And so her bringing in her loving energies of compassion and wholeness and balance are actually going to literally save us this time round and move us forward actually into the golden age of miracles. So we're in for a ride. However, there's nothing to fear. There really is nothing to fear. Wonderful blessings and miracles. They've already been coming into the planet, Donna. I mean, even in my own life this past year, my story has been so incredible since last September myself. And the miracles that have come in for me and my own family are just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, you know, I would just gently suggest to your listeners, you know, every day try to focus on something to be grateful for and to look for a miracle, a blessing. It might be tiny, but you know what? It still counts. It all counts. It all adds up one step at a time. It all adds up.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
You know what? I'm having an
echo.
So let me see where that is coming
from.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Let's see here. I'm gonna get my daughter to there's where the echo is coming from. But let me ask you. How can reconnecting with our true nature of being, which is love, support us in moving in bliss?
Okay, so the way that I'll explain it is that, and I'm going to use the word divine love instead of love, and the reason I'm using that is because divine love is the love of the Creator. For some people, love can be a trigger word. So divine love is the energetic vibration that matches the 5th dimensional consciousness. And it is the true essence of the core of our true nature. The core of our true nature is divine love, which is the love of the creator, the universe, the multiverse, God, whatever word you want to, the one source of life. So we need to we need to raise our personal vibration, and we need to release all the energies of the third dimension and the fourth dimensional consciousness out of our body and being. We need to purify them out of our mental, our emotional, our physical, and our etheric double body, and fully step into being rooted into the fifth dimensional consciousness of divine love. Once we can leap into that place and that space of being and being rooted in the fifth dimensional consciousness, then that means all of our cells are vibrating with divine love. From that point, we can then just move up into the higher realms of consciousness, and move into peace, move into harmony, move into joy. Joy being the highest, I think, on the spectrum before reaching the 12th dimension of the avatar state, that would have been Jesus or Buddha, Abraham, other people we know about who reach avatar state. So again, that's where the personal work comes in. And I don't like to use the word work, but in a sense it is. However, I'll share with your listeners that I can share with you when I work with my clients and everything that it is so much faster today because of these higher frequencies that it's not like it used to be years ago where sometimes we felt like we were grinding our teeth to release the dense energy. So it happens very quickly now, and which is a wonderful blessing. You know, there are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. I will share that with you that, you know, I'm a soul, and, you know, I will tell you if someone's telling you there's shortcuts, run the other way. You have to individually do what you have to do for yourself. And each soul's journey, it is different. It's everybody has their own, you know, roadmap, so to speak. However, you are divinely guided. And once you make the choice, because it is out of free will, it is our choice. This is a free will planet. Once we choose that to reconnect with our divine and open our heart, it's a wonderful journey you will never regret. You will look back and you will be like, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. And I'm so glad I said yes to this journey. And what was I waiting for? You know, and you will be so helped along the way. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, because that would be an idealist, and that doesn't exist. But what I will say to you is that you are being so divinely guided and supported, and I call it your divine team, your angels, your ascended masters, your archangels, your loved ones. They're all around you, and they're just waiting for you to invite them into your world to help you to reconnect and to open your heart and really to return to the innocence. You know, think back to when you were a child and you were 8 or 9 years old, Donna, and remember lying in the grass and looking up at the sky and looking up at the stars, and any and everything was possible, right? You didn't think of any limits. You didn't have any boxes you were living in. There was no one telling you you couldn't do anything. I mean, you were sitting there going, well, when I grow up, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to fly here and oh my gosh, what a wonderful, wonderful way to live. That's the way that we're headed to. That is the way that Divine Mother wants us to return to our innocence. She wants us to play. She wants us to be creative. You know, she wants us to be free spirits again. She wants us to enjoy every moment and really bring through what makes us happy. You know, connect with your heart's desire and bring through your unique heart's desire, whatever that is. It could be many different things for many different people. But once you have that connection, then, oh my gosh, your whole life is going to change. And And let me also, I want to say a note about this also for the qualities of the divine feminine, because in our original divine DNA soul blueprint, which we all have, we're all uniquely made, right? When we were created as individual sparks of energy, but we were all given the divine qualities of divine mother. And it doesn't matter whether you're a male or a female. It doesn't matter, because we all have those divine qualities of beauty, compassion, gentleness, patience, kindness, intuitiveness, forgiving. Those are the divine qualities of the divine mother. And so for men, they have just as much an opportunity to bring those qualities and cultivate those qualities within their life so they can return to a life of wholeness and balance, which is what Divine Mother wants for all her children. And, you know, I think it's really important for men to hear this message because, you know, so wounded, Donna, not just women, but men are very wounded also by the imbalance that took place in our society for thousands of years. And they're waiting for us women to lead the way, in a sense, for us to heal, so that once we heal our hearts, we can help them to heal their hearts. And,
yes.
You know, I will say that this is a little bit emotional for me because even though I divorced, I love my husband with all my heart. And it was really hard to leave that because he's a good person. But his soul at the soul level wasn't ready to take the steps, to take the journey. He just wasn't ready yet. There was no judgment around that. He just wasn't ready. But, you know, I can see in him these beautiful qualities of softness and patience and his own unique intuitiveness. And, you know, it's so beautiful. And I know that he's starting his journey now. And I'm so very, very grateful for that because, you know, I want him to be happy. I want him to heal those wounds. And we all do have core wounds around the mother and feeling abandoned by Divine Mother, that she left us. A lot of us have trust issues, that we feel like that the divine left us and that we were abandoned by the divine. We may be angry with God leaving us. There's many different, you know, feelings that we have that have been so suppressed because of the culture of our society that have not been expressed in healthy ways. And so, you know, that being an important message, I think, is that whatever your path is, you know, connect with whoever it is that you need to connect with, your mentor, your guide, where, you know, whatever it is, the labeling doesn't matter, Donna. What matters is that you find that guidance and that support that you need this path to open your heart and to return to wholeness. That's what the Divine Mother wants for you and all her children. She wants her children to be found and not to be lost and not to continue on these, you know, these ways of living in misery and suffering and pain. That's over. And, you know, I want to say it's also over for the empath too, because this was kind of interesting. I was born an empath as my natal soul, and I lived that for, I'm not going to tell my age, but I lived it until about 6 weeks ago, honestly. And then about 6 weeks ago, I was told that I was releasing that empath, and that part of my journey was over. And that it, you know, I didn't need to be transforming other people's emotions anymore. And that, you know, my higher self and my higher consciousness stepped in and said, now we need for you to be whole. We need for you to be whole and complete so that you can be a mentor in your beingness, you know, is a light leader so that other people can see that, again, other empaths, intuitives, and healers that they can leave behind. It is a choice. You can leave that role and you can now step up into the fifth dimension, and you can actually step into your wholeness and balance, which means that you have healthy boundaries so that you have made a decision to allow others to have their own feelings and emotions, but you're not going to, you respect that, but you're not going to transform or take those emotions or feelings onto yourself. And I haven't really heard anyone talking about this message, so I did want to share that because I think it's an important message for other empaths and healers to hear.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I wanted to ask about your trip to South France? Southern France.
Yes.
Southern France.
Yes.
Talk to us about that awakening.
Reawakening experience.
Oh wow! That was such a blessing, Donna. That came out of the blue last September when I received from my guides that I had finished and completed all my karma responsibilities. For my personal and my family. I really started to open up, and in November I met a friend, and I had been given a new prayer for the Akashic records. I knew I was going to receive a prayer, and so I went to visit her, and she had a message. We need to use your prayer, and I need to help you go on a journey. And I'm like, okay. So we went on a journey to the halls of Amente, where I received some integrations, and that started kind of a bigger opening. And then later, Mary Magdalene actually came to me and knighted me as a Knights Templar and reconnected with me. And that was in November. And then in January, I just started to get this, kind of feelings that I needed to go to France. And honestly, France wasn't really on my bucket list. And so it just kept coming to me, the feelings and the images and everything about it. And so I mentioned it to my friend Gwendolyn, and that I was looking at these other 2 tours, and she goes, I'll go to France with you. I know all the sites that we need to go to. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we planned the trip, and we went in June, and the southern part of France in the Pyrenees Mountains. And actually, I didn't really realize that the legends of the divine feminine are so strong there in southern France. And in particular, there's a lot of devotion to Saint Mary Magdalene there in the southern part of France. So we had an incredible journey. We visited several sacred sites of the divine feminine. I personally had some amazing initiations and experiences there. I went to the Saint Magdalene Church in Paris, where I had an amazing experience with the divine feminine energy. And, it just took me on this incredible journey of where basically I was told that the first cycle of my life was completed, and I was starting a whole new cycle, the voice for the divine feminine. And that's my new role, is to be the voice of the divine feminine. And that, I would be, all my new work would be coming through this flavor. And, just really helping people to really reconnect to their divine feminine essence and to really understand what that means at a very deep and personal level, might I add. And so it was quite an amazing experience. It just level. When I came back, I was a changed person, a changed woman. And so I'm very excited about bringing this whole new flavor of work into the world and being a voice for the divine feminine, and to really be part of the movement that's already started and now escalating. It seems that women are at the forefront of this. However, I totally welcome men, more men, the better. Please come. I invite you to come and to join us in our sacred circles and our prayer circles, and be part of that, and to allow us all to support each other, because we're all here to support each other and to hold hands one step at a time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your sex. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you really begin to reconnect with the truth of who you are, I call it your higher self, and begin to live the life that you deserve. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve that. That is your birthright. And oh my gosh, don't get me started, because I'm like the torchbearer. I'm like the Statue of Liberty here. I mean, I'm like right there with the Lady of the Torch, and I work with Saint Germain, and I love it because I get really passionate about freedom. So, yeah, it was a beautiful journey. Thank you for allowing me to share it. And
it's very important thing about, and how men and women need to come together to make this happen. This energetic shift happen.
Yes, absolutely. And it's happening. I think we're going to see some really good positive changes coming our way in the next few months. Some of these changes might be a bit chaotic, and you might stir up some fear for people. However, the more that you invite into your world, you keep setting your mantra, your prayer, your intention, whatever you want to call it. I'm not hung up on the buzzword, but your divine communion with yourself, your higher self, is so important right now. To please do that every day, to nurture that relationship, to really slow down and begin to pay attention to your body. I mean, the body is so important right now, Donna. For the next 2 years, our relationship with our body is so important because of these higher frequencies of light that are coming in. If we don't slow down and really take care of ourselves, our body, we're not going to be able to hold the light and anchor that light. And so it does require us to slow down, to reconnect in meditation, in nature, whatever it is for you that you do to get quiet and to get still. Can't emphasize that enough. And the more that you do that and continue to ask for your life to move into the universe of love, divine love, with ease and grace. I always add with ease and grace on my mantras so that my life can go easier. And, the more that you invite that and say, I'm just releasing that fear because it's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Really look at it. And don't let it control you. Don't let it put you in that box anymore. And, I've moved and I've shifted my own consciousness since last September with the prayers. I was downloaded and co-channeled several prayers, primarily who's Archangel Metatron is he's responsible for the Akashic records. I'll put it that way. So, we co-channeled these incredible prayers. And, at first I was kind of upset because I'm like, well, these prayers are so simple. Like, they're just so simple. And then I was like, but simple, I was told, okay, they're simple, but you know what? More people can understand when they're simple and they're not overcomplicated, and more people can get the energy of the concepts and can embrace it and bring it into their life. So I got over it. My ego got over it. And, I started using those prayers myself. I use them every day. And, they just really help me to, out of fear, out of anxiety, out of stress, out of chaos, out of conflict. And they're so powerful. And, it was just such a blessing. And I want to share, with people techniques and tools, or, to help them. And so now I've just accepted that, you know, this is my path and I love my path, and prayers, I actually love prayers. And if they're bringing people blessings, then bring them on. You know, bring on more prayers. So,
okay. I want to put you on the
spot.
Okay.
Can you share a prayer
with us?
Sure, I sure can. Yeah, and I kind of thought you might want to hear a prayer, so I picked one out.
Awesome.
Okay, so if your listeners want to just, you know, maybe close their eyes and just kind of focus in on their heart space for a moment, just take a few deep breaths. You know, just set the intention to connect with the energy and the words of the prayer. And just notice, if you will. And if you notice, fine. If you don't notice, that's okay. Each of us are different, you know, how we receive information and communicate with the energy. Just allow the prayer to speak to your heart in whatever way it wants to your soul. So this is a prayer for guidance with Archangel Metatron. And so just connect with the energy. Okay, so here we go. Walk forward into the light of your being, cosmic child of the universe, returning to the innocence of your soul. Allow your sacred heart to guide you now. Your light shines bright for you to see what you see, what you need to know, what you need to hear, and what you need to feel. Spread your wings and take flight. You are the light. Open your heart for all to see what you need to see, feel, and know. Ask for your divine guidance now to be revealed, and embrace it fully with arms open wide. You receive it into your soul with ease and grace. Give thanks and praise, holy blessings to thee. So be it, and so it is. Amen, amen, amen. And so now, if you're really connected in with your heart, you'll feel the heart opening and the increase in your vibration. And just notice where the light is entering into your body and into your being. And just deeply breathing so that you can just anchor in all the love and the light that is coming in through this prayer. And just saying yes, that you want to receive the blessings. So be it, and so it is. Amen. So thank you for letting me share that with your audience. Ooh, I'd love to hear any experiences or any feedback, or do we have any questions?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for sharing with us.
Sure, absolutely.
And it looks like Vaughn is saying beautiful prayer. Yes. So we don't have a lot of questions in the chat. But I wanted to ask you. How do you guide others to embrace your presence, create a new life, Yes.
Good question. Yes. Well, what I do is I work with people individually, one-on-one, of course, with the Akashic records. I give intuitive Akashic record readings, and really it's more than just an Akashic record reading that I do these days, because of the gifts that I've been given. And when I came back from France, I was told all my gifts have been fully returned now, so it's really exciting. Very excited about this, because now I have all my gifts to share with helping people to heal on their journey. So that's one way I do it, with private session work with people. And then, of course, teaching the Akashic record classes. helping people to learn how to read their own Akashic records is an amazing tool for their journey, because it's very self-empowering, Donna, when, you know, maybe in the middle of the night you wake up and you're in a crisis and you really can't pick up the phone and call anybody, or you're like, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning, what can I do? Well, you know, when you learn how to work with the Akashic records, you can always go open your Akashic records, and just being in the energy elevates your vibration and your consciousness. If you just sit in it, it connects you with your team, and it will bring you in lots of compassion and kindness and love. It will help you to remember that you are goodness, that you are light, that you're innocence, that you're not wrong or bad. Beautiful soul. And so it's such a precious gift to share this with others, to empower them. So my work is, when I say helping to step people into their I am presence, what I'm talking about is for those who are ready to step up into being their ascended self, living their best self, their highest destiny, whatever you want to call it, and beginning to take responsibility for their co-creations on the planet, because that's really what we're being called to do. Now, it doesn't mean that we're perfect. Doesn't mean that. It just means that we've made a conscious choice that, you know, we will, to the best of our ability, make decisions and choices that are for our highest good and the highest good of the planet, because we realize that at this very deep level, that our choices, our words, and our actions are impacting the planet, impacting everyone, as well as ourselves. And so for those who are ready to release what I call the 3D way of living in victim consciousness, codependency, all those, you know, places that we were, those who are ready to release all of that and to live this higher way of living with their I am presence and to live in the light, that is where I guide people. So my work is not so much about focusing on blocks, so to speak. I guide people more toward guiding them on helping them to remember who they are at the core. And once you can start to remember who you are at the core of your being, your true self, that you're divine love, and you focus more of your energy on that, then what happens is you start to elevate your concentration. And that's what these prayers do. The work of the prayers, they're quantum prayers of light. So the syllables, the letters in the words, these are not just any words. These are high vibrational frequencies. It, you know, kind of like in numerology, right? You've got the numerological vibration character of the alphabet. So these words and these phrases, the way they're put together, are designed to connect you with your higher self and to entrain these higher frequencies of energy to literally come into your body and to help you to anchor these higher frequencies of light in your body, because we are the physical vehicle and the vessel between heaven and earth. That is our other job, is to anchor our light, but to be the bridge between heaven and earth. And it's so important for us to anchor this into the earth so that we can shift the consciousness on the planet. So that's how I help people and guide them. When I do an Akashic record reading, though, what I was saying was that sometimes that reading can be a healing. I just allow, you know, that person's masters and teachers and their guidance team to guide me. What's the highest good for that person? Sometimes a light language transmission will come through, a healing will come through. So, you know, any of that can happen because, again, I set the intention that whatever's for the highest good for that person come through. And that's the other thing, too, that I want to just talk about, because there are a lot of people who really don't know about Akashic Records, Donna. And the Akashic Records are a wonderful tool, but I like them also because they bring us such high integrity and they bring us to our highest truth. And I think that's so important for our path and our journey, because let me just say that not everything is how it is. And I myself have been, involved in maybe with a teacher or two that was not of the highest integrity or truth. And that's okay. Sometimes that happens and we learn from that. However, that taught me to to always say to the universe, bring me the highest love, light, and truth, or however you want to say it, on my path, to keep me in the path of light, right? Exactly. And so, I don't know where that came from. And so, Akashic record work is, does that, as many things it does. But eventually, when you move into the fifth dimension, and you become rooted in it, then you will be using your Akashic records quite a bit. And how I teach people to access their Akashic records is through a prayer. I mentioned earlier I was gifted with my own prayer. I taught the pathway prayer for 2 years, and then I was gifted my own prayer. And this particular prayer will takes us into the higher consciousness of the 5th, 6th, and 7th levels of consciousness. So it's a very high vibrational prayer. It works with the higher frequencies of light that are now on the planet. And I've got my students love it. I love it. I use it all the time. So this is just hopefully giving you and your viewers some idea of how I guide others.
Absolutely. And let me say this, that because you actually have, you've got a couple of packages that you are offering folks, our listeners on the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Transformation Show. And you have some pretty amazing packages that are for folks to take advantage of learning about self. And, like you, I'm going to say that I cannot stress that enough about self, because when you're talking about bringing the planet through this energetic time, we are talking about each one kind of like doing their part, if that's fair to say. And by doing our part, we are doing us. We're doing us, and with gratitude. You mentioned gratitude and things like that. So your packages, you've got package A, which includes a new series called The Way of Divine Love. And I love that. Embrace your divine feminine power to claim your new life of peace, love, joy, and bliss. Love that. And of course, that includes 4 group calls, which is about an hour and a half each, plus recording. So, all of that's going to be recorded for them to keep, which is awesome, because we all know that when you listen to things over and over and over again, number one, you tend to hear them differently, and it also reinforces the learning when you do them over and over again. So you have that, plus there's the Facebook group for extra support. You have the Raise Your Personal Vibration, Deepen Your Connection with Divine Feminine Nature to Become Love. I'm all about love. As your new ascended life foundation of living from the 5th dimension. So I really like this package. It's a very inclusive package that helps us to move into the 5th dimension and to our higher selves. I think is another way of saying that, our higher selves. And when we move into our higher selves, we move into the higher selves for not just ourselves, but for the entire planet. So if everyone could take this time and focus on themselves, we would get there. And then of course you have package B, which is the private 30-minute session of intuitive channeled sessions with you, which amazing. And plus, you know, that whole session is all about combining the channeled information from your higher guides, opening your Akashic records, light language activations, healing prayers, energy work, and mediumship, which I just find all that is just so amazing and fascinating. It helps to open your channels to more peace, love, joy, and bliss. Again, so important. Heal, open, and activate your sacred heart connection. Clear your energy fields, balance your chakras and ascension column. Connect with your higher self and divine team to receive daily guidance. Heal your human and your human and soul, which is important, your soul DNA. Receive clarity and guidance for your human journey about the situation, and that's the situation that you guys are talking about. And of course, receive personal prayer. So all of that is, of course, just important. But then, you know, you have package A and package B, which I just said, but you also include a package C. Basically, you can combine both A and B and just get the whole shebang of everything, which is so comprehensive. And so I'm going to, of course, encourage folks to take advantage of that, because with healing ourselves, there's so much that we have to do for each other, and what we have to do for ourselves so that we can do for each other. And that's not just to say each other. That's for your families, you know, for when we heal ourselves, we get to role model that healing, you know, and so people are able to see that as well.
And Donna, if I could, actually, that 30 minutes, actually, I'm going to give an hour session for that. I meant to tell you I was going to change it to an hour session for people.
Awesome.
Yeah, because usually, I mean, I can do a lot in 30 minutes, but I want people to be able to move forward with these energies. We'll be working with these energies right now. It's such a tremendous way for people to up level their life, I call it, and shift forward. And I want to help as many people as possible to do that. So let's make it an hour.
Absolutely. Let's do that then. So, all right, folks, you heard it. So it's an hour, and I'll make sure I change that on the website so that you can take advantage of that. Now, I know we have gone over by a few minutes. So Laura, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you back on the big screen and allow you to, if you would give us some last minute wisdoms, thoughts, whatever, you know, you want to close out our live show tonight with. So let me bring you back on the screen.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you. It's such an honor to be with you. I'm so really, really grateful, Donna, for you bringing me on your show and to enjoy this time and connect with your listeners. It's been really fun. And everyone, I really appreciate all your comments. I've seen all the sweet comments and support, and would like to return all of that love back to each of your listeners. You know, this is a dream come true for me, Donna, to be here speaking with you. It took a long time for me, and it wasn't always easy, but I'm here, and I'm very, very happy to be here, and I'm happy to support anyone who needs help on the journey, to give them guidance, to give them wisdom, to help you to reach your best life. And that's what brings joy to me, is to help you to reconnect with your true self in my heart of hearts. So I think I'll just leave it with that, that it's been wonderful to connect with you and your audience. I've so enjoyed it. And, you know, just love, peace, and blessings of bliss to everyone. Just sending that out to you. Just, there's nothing to fear, and just to go for it.
Absolutely. So, well, I want to thank you, of course, Laura, for being on the show with me. I appreciate your presence here because you have given us so much information. You know, what I love about the show is that from tonight, of course, it's automatically posted in Facebook. So I'll make sure that there's a copy on your wall as well. And I will also post it to the YouTube channel. Plus, we have a podcast channel, so people can listen or watch, however that they can get all the information, because you've given us so much. And Georgia is saying, thank you, Laura and Donna, many blessings. Thank you, Georgia, for that. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who's come out and or got to their Facebook pages and watched us tonight. So we thank you for joining us. Hope you got a lot of good information. Please see the website, the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Coaching.com. You can go to that website and you'll see the show. You'll see all the information on Laura, and I will update that for the new hour that she's going to give you when you get that package B or package C, and get it all comprehensive, all the comprehensive instructions and guidance that you need. So I will update that. But you can also go onto Facebook to the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Coaching Facebook page. There's an online store. It has all of her information for the packages. You can go there. You don't even have to leave Facebook and to get the special. And so, but thank you. I want to thank everyone for, again, being here with us. And Laura, thank you so much. Laura, I have to ask, will you please come back and check in on us and visit us again on the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Transformation show? Would you come back and join us?
Absolutely, would love to. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I would love to. Absolutely. Yes. And I want to give a special shout out to Karen LaGrange too. So thank you for introducing us, Karen. Thank you, Donna. I really loved it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Yes, big shout out to Karen, of course. Thank you, Karen, for making that introduction. And thank you. Well, folks, let's close out. And again, I want to just say thank you. Please go to the website, Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Coaching.com, and you can get all of the information about Laura's special offering. And of course, make sure you listen to this show again, because there's so much information that we talked about tonight about self. Self, folks, take care of self. All right, everyone, I'm going to say goodnight. And I want to, again, thank you. We'll see you not this next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday is the 15th. And we're going to have a very special guest. His name is George Winston. George is a pianist. Looking forward to having George Winston on the show. We're going to do something a little bit different with relationships. So join us on August 15th. Good night, everyone.